All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
I just want to add this quickly, yeah? These weeklies are time-stamped. It says, intro produced by Boxing Beats and Rhymes. Outro produced by Boxing Beats and Rhymes. Some people are still asking me whose beat is being played here. It says on the information whose beat it is. So, on Marco Antonio Barrera, on his YouTube channel, Eddie Reynoso pointed out it's difficult to work with Ryan Garcia. He has no focus. He's one of the hardest to train. He's a very good guy, but because he's a big media guy, he's very into cameras and other things. He doesn't really have a focus on boxing. You know, he's in Los Angeles and he's filming there. Then he's going to Las Vegas. Then he's going somewhere else. He's losing focus on boxing. I saw that he learned some things, but it's difficult to work with him, Reynoso added. So it's been a year and some change since he left the Reynoso stable and went over to Joe Goosen. He's since left Joe Goosen after the April the 24th defeat to Gervonta Davis, where he lost his unbeaten record via 7th round knockout. But if you're talking about the hardcore infrastructure of Mexican boxing, they don't really care if you're able to beat everyone in the weight class because you're better than them. They want to see that you're maximizing your ability, that you're giving it your all each time. I used to watch the Mexican cards sponsored by Tecate, and there weren't no big headliners or anyone infamously world famous. And you see how much the crowd are into their boxing. Similar to the York Hall, similar to the infamous Philly circuit in Blue Horizon or the Spectrum. And he's not just going to get back into the good graces of the likes of Chavez Sr., guys like Raul Marquez. It's not going to be that easy to win them back over. Eddie might be thinking, do I want to go through all that again? Eddie might be thinking, yo, you denied me my opportunity of plotting the downfall of one of the more popular fighters in the game, Gervonta Davis. You gave Joe Goosen the gig after all that time I spent working on you in the gym, and now you want back in because you lost? You know, it's a respect thing. Eddie's probably thinking, well, what about Joe Goosen? You wasted his time too. See, and a lot of young people don't think like that. They don't think of the extenuating circumstances. And look, it's hard for young people to do that. Like, there's so much going on in a young person's life, they're not thinking about the consequences of all their actions. You know, Eddie's remembering how you spoke to Canelo. You don't disrespect Canelo. It's like, if you're going to have a relationship with Manny Stewart when he was alive, you don't diss Tommy Hearns. No. You don't get back in the gym. You know, it's not just Eddie's decision. Well, it is Eddie's decision. But Eddie has to go and consult people like Canelo and the other people in the gym as well. Eddie's got to consider other people. He wants other people's opinion. Should I do it? It's not just as simple as that. If Ryan really wants it, and if he really wants to work with Reynoso in particular, well, replying on social media is not going to enable that. I'm sure he has a phone number or another way to contact Eddie. Don't do it and make it a social media thing. I know Eddie replied in social media, but it's you who needs him. You know, it's Ryan carrying around the stigma of a quitter amongst the Mexican boxing community, you know. So maybe Eddie is just going to let him sweat a little and then take him back. Or is it a wrap? Eddie probably thinking, well, what's going to change? What's going to change? I used to try and talk to him before he left and he wouldn't listen. And Ryan, more importantly, has to ask himself, what is going to change if he goes back? If he didn't think he was getting the attention, what changes now? You know, Ryan didn't really let the dust settle on the fight. He should have took a month out and just kept away from social media. Don't make no announcements of making changes in the team or anything. But the defeat is still raw. And, he, you know, within days, Joe Goosen was gone, and within days, we want Eddie back. He needs to sit down and process. As painful as that is, that's what he needs to do. What are the pros and cons of going back? What's going to change to benefit him? Did he perhaps get rid of Joe Goosen too early? You know, there's lots of stuff that he really needed to ponder a bit longer, in my opinion. But, you know, a comprehensive defeat like that, he wants to fix it straight away, but you can't. You've lost to Gervonta Davis. Body shot stoppage. I saw it. You all saw it. He's got to ask himself how much he really wants to box. There's a lot of people saying he could have got up. You know, if he wasn't very mentally strong before, carrying the stigma of being a quitter, how does he deal with that? You know, he loves social media, so it's not like it's a thing he can avoid. He's going to see it constantly. You're a quitter, and they're going to troll him. Quit, quitter. See how long it's took Billy Joe Saunders to announce a comeback since he was labelled a quitter after losing to Canelo.
Hello everyone. Been watching Fabio Wardley's interviews today, talking about me. He reminds me of me at the minute after I boxed Lucas Brown. Overconfident, brash, and why not? Should be enjoying what he's doing. He's doing great, but I was once where he is now, and I ended up boxing an old experienced man who was in the last chance saloon, and I got taught a very harsh lesson. So hopefully he keeps his feet on the ground and working hard, because if not, history's got a habit of repeating itself, given the chance.
The highs and lows that the pugilists must go through is something I'll never be able to break down to you guys here. Dave Allen's best wins were the body shot stoppage against Lucas Brown and the 4th round knockout of Nick Webb. I believe it was an overhand right. Shortly after the Lucas Brown fight, the David Price fight came. A lot of people were saying, yeah, Dave Allen was going to beat David Price. I picked David Price to win, and it was David Price's best performance. David uses left hook very well, uses jab extremely well. There was a bit of a Philly shell. Yeah, there was. He used the ring beautifully. Surely the crowning glory of his career is that victory there. Dave Allen needed oxygen after and looked a sorry state. Since then, he's never boxed on a Matchroom card. He's been banished to the Twilight Zone, or the Fight Zone, with Dennis Hobson. So he's been up there. I always used to consider Dave one of the underachievers who, as I used to call it, it was a case of jobs for the boys, basically. And Eddie seemed to have favourites, his dad seemed to have favourites like Sam Eggington, and they got opportunity after opportunity after underperforming. There was times where Dave would say he's not training, he had issues with gambling, his purse is away and stuff like that. And he got a layup against Lenroy Thomas for the Commonwealth title, and he lost a close decision, and Eddie Hearn was furious.
Dave Allen as well.
Disappointed. Very disappointed. You know, you give him the opportunity, and I'm not, you know, I don't mean to sound like an arsehole, but I'm just being honest with you, and he fucked it up. You know, he was poor, he didn't put punches together, combinations together, he didn't really look fit. He was in town today going to meet people in the pubs on social media. You don't do that if you want to be a champion. You know what I mean? It's funny, and the reception he got was amazing, but if you want to be taken seriously, you've got to be professional and you've got to behave like a champion if you want to be a champion. But he doesn't know how to behave. The people who got around him have got to get hold of him and say, you can't do that, you do that. And he says, I don't want to sit in my room because I'll go mad in the room, I want to get out with people. You're burning energy doing that. You're walking all around town, you're having photos of people getting pulled around. He had a chance to win a Commonwealth title tonight, and he blew it. And it was there for him on a plate. Lenroy Thomas boxed well, in my opinion, deserved the win. Carl Froch had Dave Allen up by 5 rounds. I didn't, I had Lenroy Thomas win. Dave Allen didn't do anything. He leaned on him, hit him with the one shot. Lenroy Thomas was consistently boxing him, you know, and I gave him a rucking, Dave, because, you know, he's got such a golden opportunity. But it's not just a case of he's not trying, he's trying. Sometimes he's not good enough. He's got a lot to learn. He's not a quality heavyweight yet. He's a nice bloke who can fight a bit. But tonight he could have won the Commonwealth title. You know what? I'm glad, all things considered, and with the fight, I'm glad he didn't get a decision. Because he didn't deserve it. And ultimately, he won't learn. If Fury got a decision, he won't learn. I said to him and Michael Marsden, you will have a date next week from me. I ain't going nowhere. But you've got to act like a pro, be like a pro. And I reiterate, it's not that he's not trying, it's just that he's got to change. So he'll get another chance with me, he'll come again. But it's up to him now. I can't, I haven't got time to go and live in Doncaster and hold his hand to go to the gym and go to a healthy eating place and learn about nutrition and live right and sleep right. He's got to do it on his own. He's the only one who can help him and the people around him.
Eddie, thank you very much.
Cheers.
The truth is, though, Dave had his fair shot. He had his fair shot at becoming something. He never won none of the domestic titles. Fabio Wardley is a British champion. 16 wins, 15 inside the distance, and he was fighting on them small hall shows, running with Dillian and John Harding, plugging away in Ipswich and all these small hall locations, and it was around his 5th pro fight. Dillian brought him over to Matchroom and he's never looked back. And he appears to be more dedicated to his craft than Dave. So yeah, fair enough. You want to sing the cautionary tale to Fabio Wardley getting overconfident, but it's a thin line between overconfidence and confidence. And confidence is obviously a key component to becoming a good pugilist. And what do you want him to do, Dave? Not be confident? I'd rather him be a little overconfident than unsure of himself. Whereas Eddie was giving Dave opportunities, Fabio is working for his opportunities. I mean, when a promoter gets a Fabio Wardley, it's like striking it lucky. He didn't have to pay no huge fee to get him over on Matchroom. And yet, with hard work, he's become British champion. Now, how far can he go? How far can he go? With no amateur background. He's good at improvising. He's a fast learner. He hits very hard. And is a very good offensive fighter. We do know that. The truth is, though, whether he makes it to world class or not, he's won already. He came from nowhere. No amateur background at all. White collar boxing.
Fabio's put a tweet out to say that the offer that was made to us was nowhere near his highest person, and states clearly that his last paycheck was higher than what you offered. Just your reaction to that, please.
That's just not true. And I don't want to, again, get involved in other teams' politics. If his management team would like me to reveal the offers that have been made, then I'm happy to do that. I know it was more than his last fight, but out of respect for his management team, who've been respectful of myself, I'm not going to do that until they ask me to. But I can confirm that it was definitely higher, and it's a huge offer and money that he's not going to earn elsewhere.
Ben looking suspect out here. So he said,
we've even offered yesterday a standalone fight figure for this fight, a huge number, and if they want me to publicise them, then I will.
But if you got all his money, put it in the purse bid. Put it in the purse bid. He doesn't want to go over to Boxer. When is that going to register into Ben's thick skull? Not everybody wants to sign to Boxer. Now, it's unlikely that Frank Warren or Wasserman would put a bid in for this fight. But they could. Anyone could bid for this fight. That purse bid could be anything. And if both networks are desperate to keep that fight on either Sky, on the Zone, and Fabio gets 60%, yeah, you bet Fab wants to see what the bidding parties come up with. He's getting 60% of it. But then he contradicted himself. He said, oh, we offered Fabio a one-fight deal. So I'm assuming that one fight would be against Fraser Clark. But didn't you say Fraser needs rounds before he fights Wardley? You contradicted yourself. ISMAEL Barroso versus Romero. The odd pairing. Not the best 140 pounders to contest the vacant title at that weight. So this is for the vacant WBA belt that Josh Taylor either relinquished or got stripped of. Whoever makes Josh feel better. Barroso is 40 years of age, is from Venezuela. I remember him taking apart Kevin Mitchell 7 years back. 7 to 8 years back at the O2 Arena. And the performance made a lot of people take notice. He had pure knockouts and he destroyed Kevin Mitchell. And Anthony Crolla was a big underdog when Crolla came back to the UK and got destroyed, outboxed and destroyed by Crolla. I remember Barroso starting off fast and looking like he was going to win, but he gassed out. And Crolla took him out with a body shot. He kept on fighting, but as far as I was concerned, he was in the wilderness. Now he's put a few wins back, and now he's fighting Rolly. Venezuela must be the hard knock life for real, because homeboy, he looks like he's aged a lot from when I saw him. So you got one old face looking guy, and then this nut job in some wacky looking glasses. He's not a world class fighter. He's a decent fighter, let me not be too hard. Doesn't mean they can't produce a good fight. I'm just suggesting there could be better 140 pounders to contest this belt. Rolly lost his last fight at 135 to Tank Davis. Tank also took that interim strap he had. So it seems to me, you know, they're fattening up Rolly, hoping he beats this old looking guy, and then Tank will be waiting there to take that WBA strap off Rolly. Is that the strategy? I'm not thrilled.
Why they don't make Canelo fight Undisputed? Tag Eddie Hearn. Undisputed versus Undisputed. Fuck it. I'm 150. I gained a little weight. Canelo. Yeah, Canelo. Not Eli and Kobe. Canelo. Like, nigga, don't fuck with me, nigga. Like, for real. Let me show y'all what it is. Why y'all don't make Canelo versus CHARLO? Fuck y'all talking about, nigga. Somebody put that shit together. Lil CHARLO will fight anybody. Nigga, I ain't never done no smoke, nigga. Undisputed versus Undisputed. That could be a big thing in boxing. Fuck it, nigga. That bitch can't beat me with that shit. His last performance, that bitch can't beat me. Motherfuckers, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Eddie Hearn, go put that CHARLO shit together.
Can't take it serious. Can't take the PBC serious. Really can't. I know a lot of people are sick of hearing me say it. But let's start with TSZYU. They were supposed to fight before he busted his hand. That's his mandatory for the WBO belt. How are you going to get to Canelo as undisputed if you don't take on your mandatory? Why aren't you addressing that? Why are you addressing Canelo when he's supposed to let his hand heal up and then take on TSZYU? Doesn't he want that fight? Isn't it happening? There's no accountability over there. They just call people out, say, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. And the next thing, they're talking about someone else they want to fight. It's just crazy out there, man. There's no structure. There's no structure. Then he said, Eddie Hearn, go make the fight. So what, you're going to go over to DAZN? You know, Eddie's going to make him an offer, and the next thing we're going to hear, no, you got to come over this side of the street. That's exactly what's going to happen. TSZYU, Australian, 28 years of age. He took out Tony Harrison in March. Excellent performance. And he's staying busy. He's going to take on Carlos Ocampo in June. AJ, take note. Tim ain't got a strap, and he's fighting consistency with regularity. You know what I mean? Not waiting around for Saudis. You got the bag already, AJ. Take a fight. And Tim is taking another fight. He's staying busy. I don't believe Jamal Charlo will be enthusiastic to take on Tim. Active, hungry, improving. That mandatory position could prove to be an albatross around his neck, because they're probably not going to strip Charlo. You know, these sanctioning bodies with certain fighters, they just don't strip him. Like Charlo's brother is approaching 700 days without defending his WBC title, and Carlos Adames is there waiting. These fighters are waiting for their title shots, man. Adames, TSZYU. I would even suggest that he says, yo, take me out of the mandatory position, I'll go elsewhere. But where could he go? Charlo's got all 4 straps, making everybody wait around. You see, that's the problem with boxing today. Everybody's talking about undisputed. But it's not like undisputed back in the day, where if you go back to maybe the 70s or 60s, undisputed might just mean WBA and WBC. Undisputed now means 4 straps. When it was 2 straps or 1 strap, most of the contenders knew they ain't going to get a shot. The promoters knew their fighters are not going to get a shot. So they had no alternative but to go out there, stay active and fight the best in their weight class. Non-title fight, European title fight, whatever it is. That's the only option you had. But that's not happening now. Everybody waits around, and you get nothing. Adames is screaming that Charlo is a coward. Charlo's fan base is screaming, he's fighting for custody of his kids. That's Charlo's business, that ain't my business. I want to see Adames get his title shot. You know, Adames called out Johnny Beck, who said, I can't fight you because you're not a champion. Well, he's an interim champion. I can't fight you because you're not a champion. Then ends up fighting this Stephen Butler guy tomorrow. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And he's another guy they were calling a boogeyman the other day. until our lad from up Battersea proved that he wasn't. It's not like this Stephen Butler is a mandatory. This is a voluntary defense, and he's not a champion. These guys just contradict themselves all the time. Right, let's not even mention Fury versus Usyk. We spoke about that already. Usyk is going to fight Daniel Dubois. We'll see. So they were saying Fury was going to fight Zhang after Zhang defeated Joe Joyce, but Joyce has activated the rematch clause that puts that fight out of contention. And they're saying here that Andy Ruiz priced himself out from a fight with Tyson Fury. Now, I don't trust that. You know, did he price himself out, or did they lowball Andy like they lowballed Usyk? We know Frank and Tyson Fury don't like paying out money for the key fights if they can avoid it.
Niggas so stingy, they got short arms and deep pockets.
I mean, Dylan got a split that was lower than what a mandatory is supposed to get according to the WBC rules. Frank Warren said the Ruiz fight won't happen due to financial demands. Now, no figures have been quoted online on what kind of split that Andy wanted from the Fury fight, but apparently it was more than what they were willing to agree. Now, Fury isn't under pressure for no mandatories right now, and July is just round the corner. And I'm assuming they want to get the July date. They want to get that in, get him a run out before all this big talk of a tournament in Saudi in December. Now, what did Andy Ruiz ask for? I don't know. But how much can you get a top contender for? And are they willing to pay out? They'll all want to be compensated, and compensated well. Was Zhang willing to take what Andy Ruiz wasn't willing to take? And if that's the case, why was that? I'd say Zhang is a higher profile than Andy right now. Andy's still trying to live off that AJ win, perhaps. Give Martin Bacoli the money, Fury. He's ranked number 7. You sparred him, you know him. You gave Derek a payday because he was an old pal. You and Martin Bacoli seem to be quite pally-pally. Give Martin a payday. You know, Frank doesn't want to go there. Stop raking up the Usyk fight, talking about it was a bloody shame that they wasted so much time on the Usyk fight. The problem we've got is the ones we wanted are all fighting. I mean, Frank's just so disingenuous, man. I mean, I'm not bringing up the Usyk fight. Everyone knows what I'm going to say, so I'm not going to bring that up. But you had more than enough time to get an opponent. More than enough time. And the opponents are out there. There's some good fighters out there. So let's not cast blame on anyone, other promoters or other boxers. Let's not do that. It's always someone else's fault when it seems glaringly obvious that a lot of the fights that they don't get made is from their end of being disagreeable. How comes Joshua is able to make fights with Ruiz and whoever else they can't make fights with? Usyk. How come? And to me it sounds like, yeah, let's call out Ruiz and go out there and say he outpriced himself, as to say, we really wanted to fight. And then, you know, tick, 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 July's on the way. And then we'll be selecting what contenders could take the fight. And Manuel Char's name will come up. Or Tom Schwartz. Every fight they fail to make is always the opposition who are outpricing themselves. Check the pattern. So I asked on Twitter, did Andy get lowballed or did he price himself out of the fight? Somebody replied, they lowballed him, probably offered him 20%. Fury only cares about the money. He has done a good job of conning the public by belittling AJ and playing the mental health card, complete fraud. Someone else replied he wanted 30%. Unified champs are not the most unreasonable demand. I haven't got anything verified, but any more receipts, I'll let you know.